We're going to look at a few questions dealing with fixed and variable costs in a car. Remember, fixed costs are costs that don't change from month to month or year to year, whereas variable costs will change depending on how much you spend on your car. So in this video, specifically, we're going to look at identifying and calculating variable operating costs associated with owning a vehicle, or calculating annual fixed ownership costs of buying or leasing a vehicle. Okay, so the first question here, it has nothing to do with calculating, but it's a question about understanding the difference between fixed and variable costs. Remember, fixed costs do not change from month to month. It doesn't matter how much or how little you use your car, these costs are going to remain the same. In the meantime, variable costs are entirely dependent on how much you use your car. The more you use it, the higher your variable costs will be. The less you use it, likely the lower your variable costs will be on your car. So which of the following is a fixed operating cost when you own a car? Is it A, gas, B, insurance, C, maintenance, or D, tires? Well, gas is definitely dependent on the amount of usage. The more you use your car, the more gas you're going to burn, which means you're going to have to buy more gas. That's definitely a variable cost. Maintenance is also definitely a variable cost. The more that you use your car, the more likely things are going to break down, and the more likely it's going to be that you're going to need to get maintenance repairs done on your car, or get things tuned up. Your tires are also a variable cost, because the more you use your car, the more wear and tear your tires are going to get, and so that means that they're going to have to be replaced sooner than later. The one that doesn't matter how much you use your car or how little you use your car is going to be the amount of insurance you pay. The amount of insurance you pay is going to be set for the year. You may pay it over all in one sitting. You may pay it over the 12 months of the year. You may pay it semi-monthly. You can possibly pay it bi-weekly, depending on your payment schedule you set up with your insurers. But the main thing is the amount of money you pay is going to be the same regardless of whether your car is on the road every day or whether it's in a garage or not. So insurance is going to be our fixed operating cost. Right, this question, the fuel consumption rate of Devon's car is 7.2 liters per 100 kilometers. About how many liters of gas will the car use to travel 1,265 kilometers? Well, to do this, the easiest thing to do is calculate the total amount of gas you expect the car to burn. So the total fuel is going to be equal to the total number of kilometers driven multiplied by the total amount of gas consumed per 100 kilometers. So we're actually going to multiply 1,265 kilometers by 7.2 liters and then divide that by 100 kilometers. The reason being, we do it all in one calculation, but the reason we have to divide by 100 is because we don't burn 7.2 liters per kilometer. It's every 100 kilometers that we burn 7.2 liters. So we put in 1,265 times 7.2 divided by 100, and we get a value of 91.08, or 91 liters. So the fuel consumption rate for 1,265 kilometers, the car will have burned 91 liters. Okay, here's question 3. Francois is trying to decide whether to buy a hybrid car. He researches a hybrid car and records his findings. So we see in the table here the cost of the hybrid car, the fuel economy, and the number of kilometers driven a year. We're going to complete the table below and use that information to help us to decide whether he should buy the gas or the hybrid car when he's going to plan to drive the car for a 5-year period. Now, I've created a worksheet on the next slide that we're going to use to find out all of our information. First thing we're going to do is find out, we noticed that for both the gas car and the hybrid car, he plans to drive 22,000 kilometers. So we're going to find out how many kilometers that would take for a 5-year period. So total kilometers is equal to 5 years times 22,000 kilometers per year. Calculate that, it works out to 110,000 kilometers for either car expected over a 5-year period. So now we're going to look at our fuel economies for each. For the gas car, the fuel economy, or the amount of fuel we're actually going to use, so total fuel, is going to be equal to the total amount driven times the fuel economy. So once again, we're doing 110,000 times 9.2, and then we're going to divide that by 100 because the 9.2 liters is every 100 kilometers. So we put that into our calculator, and we find that Francois, using the gas car, is going to use 10,120 liters. So we're going to use that to fill in some numbers on our table now. So we can fill in the number of kilometers for both cars. For the gas car, it's 110,000. And for the hybrid car, we also expect 110,000 kilometers over the 5-year period. The amount of fuel that the gas car is going to use over that period is 10,120 liters. We'll get back to the cost afterwards. I want to first determine how many kilometers the hybrid car will use in that same time period. So for the hybrid, total fuel is, we have the same same number of kilometers, and multiply that by 5.1 liters per 100 kilometers this time. So 110,000 times 5.1 divided by 100 works out to 5,610 liters of fuel. So I should put liters next to this one as well. So the amount of fuel that the hybrid is going to use up is 5,610 liters. Okay, I have a little bit of room here, so I'm going to do the cost of fuel here. For the gas car, we have 10,120 liters. And we're trying to find out the total cost, so we've got to multiply that by the assumed rate of $1.35 a liter. Put that in my calculator. It gives me a value of 13,000, apologies, 662 dollars. It's how much we're going to spend on fuel for the gas-powered car over the 5-year period. For the hybrid car, we take the amount of fuel, multiply it by $1.35, and that works out to $7,573.50, not 50 cents. Let's redraw the whole number. $7,573.50. So that's how much fuel, or how much it's going to cost to fuel the hybrid car over a 5-year period. Okay, the last thing we have to consider, at this point we're just assuming we're worried about the cost of the car plus the cost of the fuel. So notice that the gas car the total cost for the gas car first. The gas car only costs $25,995, but we're also going to spend $13,662 on gas. So $25,995 plus $13,662 means that over a 5-year period, you're going to have to spend a total of $39,657 on the gas car. For the hybrid, the hybrid car costs $30,995, and we're going to add to it the price of gas over that 5-year period. So $30,995 plus $7,573.50 works out to $38,560.50. So now the question is, which is the cheaper option over a 5-year period? Which is the more economical option? Well, even though it's a $5,000 more expensive car, when you add in the gas costs, the hybrid is going to be more fuel efficient, more cost effective over a 5-year period. And we're actually going to save about $1,000 overall. So the hybrid car is the more cost-effective option. Okay, so to remind you, when you're buying, whether it's buying, leasing, or leasing to own a car, there are other types of payments, costs associated with the car that you have to consider. The first are fixed costs, such as insurance, licensing, which is an annual thing, and extended warranty. And these values don't change regardless of the amount of the usage of the car. Variable costs, such as costs for repairs, maintenance, and gasoline, are going to change as a result of the amount of usage of your car. So we must keep these types of costs in mind when we're looking to budget our money in consideration of buying a car. If we have $1,000 a month to spend, we can't spend $950 a month on the car payments because you won't have enough money left over for all the other incidentals that you'll have to worry about in the run of the month.